Hi, welcome to the show Career Bytes. Today's guest is Sandhya Singh. Sandhya is a senior executive in Volvo Motors, Sweden. Sandhya is like daughter to me. I have seen her journey from school days. She has been doing marvelous even in school days, and now she is doing very good. Welcome, Sandhya, in this show.
Thank you, Uncle. Very nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So it has been around 20 years since we met last, I think. Hannah. So
Absolutely.
I want to remind all the things. So just tell us your journey starting from school days.
Yeah, you know me when I was almost a kid at that time when I was in school. I have been, it's been different depending upon the schools actually. What I would say, I'm born and raised in Satna. It's a small town in India. Uncle, you were posted there for some time. That's when we met. So I have been a little bit of a shy student when I was in school, at least until my 11th grade. But I have always liked to study somehow. But I've loved to play even more. So I used to spend a lot of time playing at the time. I had quite some interest in science field, physics especially, and that's why I chose to do engineering as my profession or as a career to take the next steps. Yeah, it's been special growing up in a small town because there is a lot of um, positive things, but also there are a lot of limitations. You don't get to see a lot of opportunities. At least when I grew up, the internet wasn't that privileged or prevalent in that time, so it was not that easy to find information about a lot of things, which is super easy these days, which is such a nice thing. But I think still I was privileged enough to have really supporting parents who gave me the best of everything, and I think I have got really good education from one of the best schools, and that also kind of helped me get a good foundation on who I am. First of all, understanding, like getting the confidence on who I am as a person, and then taking it from there, basically learning all the skills and really good teachers and an environment, a school environment which was very open and uh, I would say very progressive compared to the town we come from.
I think at the time of getting admission in Bachelor of Engineering at Tekanpur, there was
Yes.
some, I think you were not that much confident taking admission there at that time because automobile, they have just started. And tell us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, automobile as such has been something that I always had a passion for. Even when I was a kid, when I used to go to my nana's home. There was a garage next to, like, on a neighbor's garage, and in the summer afternoons when everyone used to like play and do other stuff, I used to go there, work with the uncle who was managing the garage, just try to learn something. So it has been always a very interesting area for me. And when I was taking admission in the my college, RJIT Academy Tekanpur, I was a little bit uncertain, and the reason was not that it was more that it was a new college, and I was not sure if it was open for civilians as well because it was a BSF college.
Yes.
But actually, when I got, so I was uncertain for a long time. But when I was at the counseling, I found out that okay, 50% of the seats are for general public as well, and that's where I applied and I got the admission. And I remember today till date, I was so happy. I was so happy that a friend of mine who later on became a friend in college because she saw me and she saw the happiness in me on getting the automotive engineering because that's what I wanted. And she remembered me from there. And when we met in college, she reminded me that, you were so happy that I just couldn't stop noticing you. So that was how I kind of got the admission. It was, I did not really think I would get it. So I was looking in other options as well. But this was probably meant to be. And I think it was a very lucky day for me to get the last seat, I think, there. And since then, it has been a roller coaster. I graduated as the only girl in my batch as an automobile engineer. So it was a batch of 63 people, out of which I was the only girl. And it has been a journey. I mean, I have been comfortable being around with guys as well from childhood because I was the only girl at home. But going into a new town totally alone by yourself, it was a very different kind of environment. And very different also in the sense that it was a BSF university. So it was like the surroundings were very border security force types. There was a campus and everything. The college was, I would say, it was a quite a humble college actually. It was nothing great in that sense of infrastructure and everything, but the facilities we got and some of the teachers that we had there, they were very inspiring, and they really helped students kind of find their potential really and motivate them in that direction. So that has been a really good privilege in that sense. And we had really nice uh, laboratories which were in collaboration with the BSF Central School of Motor Transport. So we had access to really good labs there, which was also really good to get this hands-on experience, which we sometimes lack. That has been really a very interesting field for me because I've loved the field from the beginning. And getting those motivating teachers and good students together with you, I think it has been a very amazing experience. And yeah, that was college. And then I have loved to study in college always, but then there was I never thought I could do like great. I was like one of the good students, but I was never the best student, and I never wanted to be either because I was just happy. That you get enough marks, your parents don't complain, and you can just enjoy life, play, do whatever you want. But when I was in college, I think I found this passion, and I think the credit goes to two of my teachers in college. They really I was the only girl, and as it is in India, you sometimes are questioned. Like every teacher would come to me and say, "Are you sure you want to take this? You can still change your department where there are more girls. You feel more comfortable." But it was a little bit of a challenge to explain to them that I have chosen to be here. I had options to go and take another university or like places, better places in many ways, but I chose because I want to do this. Eventually, they realized, and those two teachers, they were Mr. Koteshwar Rao sir and KK Jain sir, and they really kind of instilled this passion in me that, I mean, I'm good, but I could be the best. I just have to try. And it was also a way of telling them that just because I'm a girl, it doesn't mean I don't belong here. One of the ways to show people that you actually belong here is actually to show that how good you are, and then people will accept you in a different way. And I think that gave me this motivation, and I really loved. And I was like, I was reading books in the library all the time about automotive, really really enjoying it. And yeah, then it was soon 4 years were over. It was campus time, and I had opportunities. I have like the three different places to choose from, and one was to I was there is a very revered name in automotive industry, R.P. Sharma sir, and he was in Jaipur in Arya group of colleges. He was the, I don't remember what was his role, but he was like the director of the automotive department, and he was there for the interview. So I did not really intend to be a professor at the time, but when he came and he interviewed me, and it really clicked between us, and I really liked. I mean, I really had always a lot of respect for him, and when he met me and when he gave me this positive feedback, I felt really good about it, and I thought, I don't know if for anything else, but I want to be close to this person to learn something from him because he's so inspiring. So I would try this out. So I tried it out. I went to Jaipur for all. I did not stay there for that long actually, because then another campus placement came. Like they called me that it's time to join now, and that was in ICICI Lombard for a short time. So I was as a motor claims insurance manager. It's a customer facing role, not where you would imagine a girl as well. But then I spent some time with Sharma sir. He taught me a lot of good things, positive things. And then I realized that it's not my passion. My dad is a teacher, but it's not really a passion. I mean, I love to teach people, but that was not something I saw that belonged to me as a career option. I always wanted to be into the industry to actually do things hands on. And then this was one of the opportunities. I was posted in Delhi at the time, and it was yet again not a standard job for a girl to be, because this is where you go out to the dealers, you meet customers randomly, like strangers, and Delhi doesn't have this reputation of being a safe place for a girl, especially. So I felt I was extremely protected there. Like I was never in the beginning allowed to go out alone on the field on my own. I actually had to fight to my national manager for this. That, I mean, you hired me for this. I have not been hired to stay at office. I have been hired to do something hands-on. Otherwise, I would not learn.
Yes.
If eventually I was allowed, but then Yet again, it was not something I was looking for. This was more a customer facing job, not something. I have been like an engineer in that sense. I want to solve problems,
Yes.
like technical problems. And then I was just looking, and one day I got a call from Volvo. I probably applied there some time ago, like after 5 6 months, and they invited me for an interview in Bangalore. So I flew over to Bangalore and just read about the company on my flight, actually, on what it is. I knew that Volvo, there are Volvo buses and stuff, but the actual, I did not really know enough about the company in that sense. I did not think I would work for Volvo at that time. Like it was not something that was naturally coming to me. But when I read it, I was impressed. I was really, really impressed by the company, the values that they stand by, and the products they create, and overall the influence they have in the society and how big they are. They were one of the top producers of Volvo trucks, like trucks, buses. They were all over, and it just felt quite impressive. So I was thinking, okay, let's see how this goes. That clicked. It was one day of interviews back to back, and eventually I think that was when I think I found my place. That was where it actually kind of clicked for me, that this is what I actually want to do. So then I joined R&D as a design engineer, worked there for several years, different positions. Started as a graduate for 1 year, and then started to lead teams at the same time in like 1 or 2 years, and been part of very important projects, the big FH truck, the new FH, and the new FM truck, and it was a very learning experience. I think it was quite significant to come to a company where you actually get this exposure, where you learn so much. It's a very good company also in terms of people. You if you are really willing to learn, I would say, at least for me, I got all the opportunities to learn new things and explore. And I took responsibility, and I was given those responsibility even though I was quite young. I was allowed to lead teams and take responsibility. That's how it kind of started. It was I worked there for around 5 years, and then I like to keep busy, and I like to like do a lot of things. Then all the major projects by the time were like over, and then it was coming to this phase of in every company you do some major launches, and then there is a little bit of a quiet period. And that quiet period was not something that I was like I started to feel like it's boring, let's do something else. And then I just applied, and then in Sweden, I had visited Sweden many times before as well. So I knew what the country was. I love the country in terms of it's a cold country in many ways. Like summers are cold and dark and long, very long. But like the people that are here and the working culture, especially, you could be yourself. There is not much of a hierarchy here, so you don't have to think about so many things apart from just basically if you just do your job well, that's going to be enough. And having this basic etiquettes and basic courtesy of being humble is enough. You're not supposed to be I mean, in India, we want everyone should be like shine, like you have a lot of pressure on being the shining star. Here the pressure is being good, and everyone should be good. Like you shouldn't like stick out at the expense of someone else. So those kind of principles really stuck to me, and I just applied, and I got this opportunity here at Volvo Buses. And then when I moved here, I was 26. I just had turned 26 when I moved here, and the plan was that I will stay here for 1 or 2 years, travel around Europe, and then go back home. Now it's been 9 years, and I am still here. So it just I think I kind of like the country. Stayed at Volvo. I've been at Volvo Group for like almost 9 years, different positions, doing project management in different areas, leading teams, and then almost 4 years and a half ago, soon 5 years actually, in September, I thought I've had a lot of exposure now on heavy duty industry. And I wanted also to try out the personal car industry, the Volvo cars, which used to be a part of Volvo Group, but it is not anymore for since a long time now. And then it's also in Gothenburg, in the same city where I live now. So I took the opportunity to go there. Now moving over to until this time, I have been very hardware focused. Done a lot of things, designing and everything. Done designing with plastic, sheet metal, all kind of parts, and then also leading projects. Then I came here to learn software because when I was leading projects, I realized that I don't like when I don't know things. It's something. If I don't know something, I want to find out. Okay, and software was one part that honestly, when I was in college, I disliked it. I just I was just, and my, you know that my dad, he has been in the computer field for a long time since I was a kid. And I just didn't like it. It didn't like ring a bell for me. I was like, it's boring stuff. I like machines more. And I'm still that person, but I think now I've also learned that this software makes this machines cooler. And then I thought I want to learn a little bit more about it. So I moved more towards the automotive software. And that has been a very enriching journey. I have learned a lot about the industry. When I came at point zero. So big thanks to all my colleagues who kind of brought me up to speed. It took some time. It was a lot of pressure as well because I was at AB Volvo for 9+ years something. And then when you have been in a company for that long time, you kind of make your own brand
Yes.
and people know you and you have built relationships and networks that makes it so easy to navigate. And when I changed to Volvo Cars, it was a totally new environment. They have branched off from Volvo Trucks for a long time ago. So the culture was also slightly different. People did not know me. So, and Volvo Trucks have been more international, in my opinion, at least, because they had offices all over the world. So they were used to talking English and, letting people in that sense. Volvo Cars, when I joined, it was still primarily focused in Gothenburg. So everyone was in Gothenburg. So Swedish was one of the, like, at least the more active languages, even though English was the official language still, but you had to like kind of remind people that I'm comfortable with English, I don't know Swedish. And then they would of course switch, but it was this transition which was difficult in the beginning, but also I think you need those things. Otherwise, because I
Yes.
realized that how rusty I had become being at trucks, because everything became easy, like, you have a brand value, people know you, you know how stuff works, you know the systems, everything was super smooth. When I came here, everything was new. Plus, even my core knowledge was not useful in the same sense because I was a mechanical person. I was an automobile engineer,
Yes.
software. But it has been amazing. And I think in these like 4 something years, I have learned so much about software. Now I'm a product owner, which is something in between technical and project management. It's a mix of both the things in some sense. So you are supposed to uh, plan and prioritize, but you're also supposed to know what your actual product is in quite some detail. And I think I've got to a good level. I'm not the expert in that field, and I don't think I need to be either. That's something I've learned as well, that you don't need to be an expert in everything. And I think now this is where I am. I'm a product owner in for the driver information area, which is the cluster, the instrument cluster. So the information basically you see in the driver information area, the DIM, the head-up display, and also in the CSD to some extent. So it's like a mix of those information, which my team is responsible for. And yeah, I love it. I enjoy doing it. That's like the professional journey, I would say, so far, starting from Satna to Sweden and going through, trying on different things basically, and really finding what my passion is and then actually following it through. That's what it has all been about.
A very good journey indeed. I'm proud of you. You made your place. Of course, it was you were lucky, in fact, but you made your way on your way. Seeing your journey, I remind I think few months back, I was just seeing an interview of Sudha Murthy. Sudha Murthy, after completing her degree, she just seen an ad from Tata Motors, and they mentioned that it is exclusively for male. She wrote a letter to Tata that I'm a female and I'm fully eligible for this position and I'm applying for this position. Please give me a chance. She went there, met Tata, and got the position. She fought for that. So even as you mentioned, you were alone. So she were alone in that
Yes.
batch, and she made her position. In fact, of course, you have made a hard work. You made your position secure, safe, and you have done wonderfully. I'm so proud of you. And of course,
Thank you.
you are a role model. In fact, for many. You may be considering or not, but of course, your journey has been inspiring for so many people. So, Sandhya, what is the difference in culture? As you mentioned, the culture in Sweden is very good. So, what is the difference in culture as you work in Bangalore and you are working there?
I think the big difference in culture is when it comes to the professionality. There is not much of a hierarchy here. So you address people with their names, and that's just the superficial part of it. Everyone is on the same level, no matter what you do as a job. So the principle that no matter what role, what job level you have, when it comes to actually, doing the job, everyone is considered equal. So, I mean, I may be leading a team of 40 something people, but then those people and me and even my manager and people above them or the chief technology officer of Volvo, we're all in the same level, because what we're doing is doing our job. I mean, I have a job, I do it. Someone else has a job and they do it well. That's what matters. It doesn't matter so much on, you know, uh, how you address. I mean, of course, being humble is a prerequisite, and
Definitely.
Swedish people are very humble. They are very um, thoughtful on how they address situations, and there. And one more thing I notice is that big difference is on collaboration. I learned it, and this is all my experiences. I'm not really endorsing in terms of for Volvo or for Sweden in that sense, but my personal experience was that when I studied in school, we are not really taught so much about collaboration. There is a lot of focus on your individual efforts, your
Yes.
individual projects, your individual growth, your individual marks. Here, there is a lot of focus from the beginning on collaboration, teamwork, and that is something which comes so naturally to the Swedish people, my colleagues. When I say, the moment you tell them just form a team, they just do it like so naturally. They just form a team and they just get on it. I think that is not so common in India even today. It is also because of how the system is instilled. Of course, there are all sorts of people everywhere. So I think there are like different personalities and they're everywhere. But this power of collaborating and coming together and doing something as a team, they're really strong at that in that sense. And they're very punctual here. So if it's 7, then it's 7. And if you are late, I mean, even by 2 minutes, it is considered late. You are not on time. So being on meetings on time, being in office at time, and there is a really good work-life balance here. That's another thing that I really like about Sweden, is that you could have a very successful work life. At the same time, you could have a happy, satisfying family life as well.
Very good.
I
Very
have
good.
I have colleagues that, like, I mean, there is day school that ends at certain time, and you are allowed to leave a meeting in the middle, saying that I have to go get my kids,
Wow.
and people do that, and it's appreciated. It's appreciated by your employee that you find that balance, because if you're not finding balance, you're coached to do
Yes.
that.
Yes. 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 Yes.
I think that's the major difference, I would say. Or I mean, we know how it works in India, of course, you know that, but it's basically the big differences that I see that are here in Sweden. So
Swe-
I think it's a good country in that
Ye-
sense.
I'm sorry. Sweden is one of the, I think, among the top 5 countries on the happiness index, and we India, I think, almost at the lowest. So why so?
Yeah, I think it's because there are several reasons. I would say that I mean, Sweden is definitely a very advanced country, a very kind of, how do you say it? Like in terms of population, it's a small population. People are educated, and there is a general sense of, I mean, I would say the quality of life, a minimum quality of life is something that everyone has, and that is like the basic, like those are the sanitary things that you need in life to be happy, right? When you have a job, you have something, somewhere to live, you have food to eat, you have clothes to wear, like your basic needs are fulfilled. For most of the people in Sweden, those basic needs are fulfilled. That is the primary thing that I think you need to have to build up on anything. And once that is done, I would say it is more how you feel about your life. I mean, people are very focused on who they are, what they want, and not so much about, what everyone else expects from me, what does the society expect from me. That is not so important. So it is about when you start to focus on yourself, and everyone does that, and you do the best what you can do. I think it's a cumulative effect. Each individual contributes to the overall uh, success, and maybe in the end happiness index also of the country. So they are in that sense. I think that's the reason, I think, that people have the basic needs covered, and then they are driven on what they can do, the factors they can influence. They're not really moved so much about the expectations from your neighbor. Like uh, no one really expects anything from you in the sense, apart from like this basic behavior that you should have as a citizen. People take pride in, I mean, I mean, I think all of us do, even we Indians, we are taking pride in being proud, like in being Indians. But there is this, I mean, The basic infrastructure and everything is really good, and people take pride in also being Swedes in that sense, being lagom. Lagom is a word that is hard to um, translate, but it's like, if I just translate it, it's like not too much, not too little. Like sort of, it's not, it doesn't really mean perfect, but it's like just right, just
Yes.
right. And people aspire for that life. So they are not, people are not very greedy in that sense. I mean, they are satisfied with life. It's also the sense of what you want. So they're happy to have a good job and a good life, and they find that balance. And when they find that balance, I think they are happy.
Yes.
That's where they are. So it's a sense of mind as well. It's a state of mind as well.
And we are lacking that.
I think so, but there is also, I would say, I mean, it's difficult to compare Sweden to India. I would not do that one to one, because India is a huge country. To me, India is like the whole of Europe, and each of our states is like one of those countries in Europe, and each state is different. And we are so many people, so to make sure that the, we have our basics needs not yet covered for many people. There are a lot of people who are really poor, don't have access to good education. There is a big divide between uh, like girls and boys and how you raise them, the opportunities they have. And I think all of those things kind of in the end contribute to you being not happy. And then we have too much to care about what everyone else thinks. We have to start thinking more about, because a lot of things we don't have control on. But what we have control on is, what do I want? What can I do about it? And if more and more people will focus on that and focus less on what other people want from me, or what society wants from me, life will become easier, and the sense of satisfaction will be more. So you will put, once you start to put, I think that's the fundamental for being happy anywhere you are. Put the focus on where you can actually make a difference. Where you cannot make a difference, you cannot make a difference. So why worry?
In India, I think even the places like Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, Chandigarh, even in those cities, highly paid professionals who are in good positions, doing very well, at least in the for the outer people, you can say, but they are not happy. I think this in one-to-one meeting they agree on that they are not able to fully utilize their potential, their energy, their knowledge. So even in those cases, people are not satisfied, not happy. So I think there is something lacking in Indian scenario that
Yeah.
is prevalent in Sweden, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult to give a politically correct answer here, but I would say that in India, I mean, it is a lot about politics, and politics in the sense not the politics of the
Yes,
government,
yes, yes, yes.
but the general politics everywhere we face in life, and then everything is like really complex. I think there are a couple of problems that when we were students in school, we wrote problems like essays about population problem, corruption problem, pollution problem. Those are the basic problems that still exist. And I think one of the biggest problems that people are not happy is actually that we have a lot of corruption everywhere. I mean, wherever you go, everything, and that kind of makes the problems worse. So if you try to solve a problem and everything around that problem is corrupt, you cannot solve the problem, because
Yes.
then there is an initiative to solve the problem, but you don't get any results out of it. Because let's say, uh, for example, my journey from going to office in Bangalore and home, this commute. And luckily, I was living very close by. But even like the infrastructure, even though it's a really big city, the roads are not that great. In the rainy season, there were like water all over the place. It was difficult to navigate your way through home by walking. So you might want to take another route. Uh, those kind of things were like the they kind of drain your energy. You don't feel great about it when you don't have this nice infrastructure around you. But the most important thing is that people are not helping each other grow. That was the biggest problem. Instead of helping each other grow and like cumulatively grow as a society, as a company, we're often putting a lot of effort on what is someone else doing. And instead of maybe trying to learn from them and appreciate and get inspired, we put a lot of effort on finding excuses or problems with that, and talking about those things, spending a lot of time talking about others
Yes.
than actually ourselves, and focusing on what can I do better. I think that's one reason I would say, but
Yes.
there could be so many other reasons that
Yes.
I mean.
I agree with you.
Uncle, your video is paused.
Oh, sorry.
It is still paused, I think. Now it's fine.
Yes.
Now I can see you again.
Sandhya, nowadays in India, unemployment scenario is, I think, too much, I think, or especially in engineering, there are so many unemployed youth. And because you are passed out from MP itself, in MP the scenario is even worse.
Yes.
So what you think, Kedar, because you are in touch with some of the just pass outs. So what are the regions and how the scenario can be improved? I'm working on this field, but
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm helpless to find the young teachers. I'm trying to convince the students. Nowadays I'm working full time in this field, but still I'm finding it very difficult. So because you are passed out from this, so tell me what are the possible solutions and how we can move ahead to improve this scenario.
I think there are two reasons, actually two main reasons. I think the first one is that in India, engineering is a profession where you go for career. You don't go there for because you like it, right?
Yes.
And if you don't have passion for anything, you will not be able to do as good in that field as you could probably do in a field that you like.
Yes.
I feel I have like it was my purpose to kind of find this field. Maybe I will probably do something else later on in life when I like something else like you did. But it is important to like what you want to do. And sadly, a lot of people in India choose to become engineers because that's seen as a good money making profession and comes with a lot of promises. They might not really want to be an engineer themselves. And then you are basically pushing yourself through college, maybe through some years. If you're lucky enough, you find a decent job, push yourself through that, but you might not be happy. That's one reason, I think. So, I mean, I would say no matter what field you choose, you could feel to choose to be a social worker, you could choose to feel like be a photographer, whatever you want to do. I think you should choose that. And when people do more and more of that, first this unnecessary competition will go down because when let's say if 10,000 people are applying for an engineering exam, it's definitely much more, but just take that for number. Maybe only 5,000 actually want to be engineer. The rest are there because of parental pressure, society pressure, and those kind of different things, or they don't know what they want to do. So I think it's important for students to find out what do they actually want to do. And once you set your mind on it, I don't think anything is difficult. There will be challenges. There will be challenges even if you like the field.
Yes.
I don't think it was easy for me in my career. I have struggled a lot. I have worked very hard to get I'm there where I am.
Yes.
But if it was another field, I probably have not found this energy to do this. No. So that's one important reason. Another reason is I would say that in India, when it comes to becoming an engineering graduate, you don't really have the best of facilities and the education, to be honest. There are some really good universities that are really great and you get good environment there, but most of the universities or colleges in India, they are not there to educate people. They're not there to make good engineers. They themselves are there to make money. And I think that's the wrong purpose to start with. A lot of students that passed from engineering colleges in India, their knowledge, sad to say, is like almost zero on the field that they are graduating. And then you are not really hireable in that sense. And or sometimes even if you have a lot of really good bookish knowledge, you might have good grades. In many cases, you might not even have that. But if you don't have the knowledge of your field, you haven't really got this exposure, more practical knowledge of your field, then when you're passed out from the college, the opportunities where you are hireable by a company, when you become an asset, is quite low.
Yes.
And then I think that's another reason why the unemployment is quite high, because if you look at the sheer volumes, it's huge number of engineers we are producing. But I think if you look at the quality, I think there is a lot of improvement that is possible. And I think it's a combination of people choosing what they want to do,
Yes,
and universities preparing courses and the infrastructure also for the students to actually find their potential to learn the best they can. Those two things I think need to be addressed, and it's a really big challenge to do that, because it's the
Yes,
whole society you have to work
yes,
around.
yes, yes.
So
You,
it's big.
yes, yes, definitely. You mentioned two things: who I am and what I want. I think these two things are very important. And
Yes.
in my career as a professor, as a principal, I had discussion with so many students, and these things are missing in, like, you can say 80 to 90% students. They are not aware about who they are, what strength they have, what exactly they want to do. Most of the students used to say, I want to do government job. And there are hundreds of types of government job. They are not
Yes,
even clear
exactly.
of which government job they want to go to. है ना?
Exactly.
And if they want to government job, they want to become a clerk or something, why they are doing engineering degree? So,
Exactly.
so I think they don't know what exactly they want and why they are. As you mentioned, because of societal pressure, parental pressure, things like that, they just join engineering. है ना?
Yes.
So they are not meant for engineering. And of course, the
No.
colleges are not providing the education that they used to provide. I think, as you
Yes.
rightly mentioned, these are two of the most prominent reasons for this scenario. And of
Yes.
course,
I
it. Yes, please.
I can give an example. I did take an admission in a master's course here at Chalmers University in Gothenburg. It is a very nice it's a very good technical university. I did not continue the course because I was trying to do that together with my job, and it was difficult to find that balance. And that's also an interesting thing. It was actually difficult to find that balance. I thought I would be able to, like, work hard and be able to do that. And maybe some people might even manage to do that. But to do a master's course, I actually was expected to put that full-time effort. And if I was not able to do that, I was not going to succeed in that course. So I realized that within the first few weeks that um, I will either be able to do my job or do this. And at that time, for me, it was more important to continue with my job because of my personal commitments. So I chose to do that. But just going to the university and getting this exposure, looking at the university campus, the facilities they have, the kind of discussions students have, it's amazing. The quality of the infrastructure, the quality of the conversations that students that were around me were having, and they were much younger than me because I had worked a couple of years when I took the admission, so there was at least 4 or 5 years of difference between me and them, and they were really mature in uh, what they want, and also the kind of dialogues they have. It was not so much about things that, of course there was a lot of fun there as well, but they knew the substance that matters for them. I think that made a big difference, and the quality of the labs, it was really outstanding. I mean, I would have loved to study here as a student of engineering as well, because I was happy to be in RJIT BSF Academy because of the labs that we got because of CSNT. And that's where I thought that made a big difference for me. The fundamentals, the infrastructure was great. You had access to the hands-on things. When I wanted to see how an engine works, I could walk into a lab and see in the cut section, how does it actually work?
Very good.
That facility does not exist in many colleges in India. So
Yes,
you
yes,
are an automobile engineer on paper, but you don't know how the machinery works.
yes, yes, yes,
And maybe you're not even interested in finding it out because you did not choose to be an engineer yourself. You were
yes,
sent
yes,
over.
yes, yes. I agree on. Uh, because you are passionate about this automobile sector, you have chosen this sector. You're doing, but as you mentioned, you have to do so many years, like learning software, everything. You had to do so many new things that you were not even comfortable with. So,
Yes,
what made you do these new things? What pushes you to move forward?
I think as I told you, maybe like I mentioned a little bit in between. I don't like and I don't know things. It's just something in me. I have always wanted to learn new things, and um, I'm never. It's a positive thing, but it's a drawback at the same time. I'm never satisfied with how much I know, how much I have learned, or I'm always in this thirst of wanting to know
Very
more,
good.
and I'm looking for opportunities where I can learn something new. So, for example, I mean, I would say that I learned so many things from you, like subconsciously, just by being you. You have taught us so many things, and I would look at this and I'll appreciate, like, Uncle does it so well, and I should learn that thing.
Yes,
And the same thing was like also with Auntie. Like, there's so many things that she did in so many like ways that I learned that, okay, this is one way of doing things. This so And in the same thing in the industry, I think one thing that is um, constant is change, right? That doesn't, like, if if you want to be successful, I would say anywhere, personally, professionally. To me, it is really important to keep evolving, because when you're stagnant, you're not growing. And it's important to grow. I mean, I was passionate about project management, and I studied and I got my project management certification. And when I joined Volvo Cars, I found out that they're not so much into project management. On the contrary, Volvo Trucks, they have really, that was the field to be in, and like there was like a pipeline there for growth. When I came here, it wasn't there. And then we started with the agile journey, and that was something new. And it was a bit of a struggle, because in the beginning, you know that there are good things coming from it, but you reason like otherwise, because you have learned something, you become comfortable with it, and now someone tells you that we have to learn something else now. And then for a short time I was thinking, but I have learned this and it's really good, why don't we use that? But I think today I found that okay, there are a lot of good things here, and the new thing also has a lot of good things. So what probably I could do is take the good from here and take the good from here and try to make the best out of it from whatever my capabilities are. I think it's for anyone. Also, as a person, I think we need to keep learning.
Yes, yes.
It otherwise we kind of get stagnant, and that's also a source of unhappiness, because it gives great pleasure when you have learned something. I mean, some simple example could be I was trying to learn to. I did not know how to skate many years ago. When I came here, I started to like learn ice skating with my friend, and the beginning was terrible. I think I fell the first day 18 to 20 times. Came home, black and blue bruises all over me, um, and I was like, just like there was pain all over my body. I just couldn't move properly. But I did not give up. I saw ice hockey match and moved there flawlessly. Like it was like as if skates were like it was nothing like abnormal. And I just kept thinking about them. That no, of course, I knew I was too old to be a professional hockey ice hockey player, but it was just this thing, and I wanted to just get a feeling of that. And believe me, when I got that feeling after trying, and when I can finally ice skate, it just gives me so much happiness that wow, I learned something, and this is a new skill set that I have learned, and that makes you feel good about it. Actually, it's a fulfillment of some sort.
Yes, yes, definitely it is. Any role model?
Uh, I would say there is not one. I would say the biggest role model are my parents. I would say both my dad and my mom. They are both amazing human beings, and
Yes, yes,
I have great respect for how they have raised us, the values and the principles they have given us, and also how they do their jobs in their respective fields. My
yes,
mom is a housemaker, but the dedication and the passion she has for it,
yes,
it's
yes, agree.
amazing. She's a great woman. And my dad, he is this person who wherever he like he's a teacher, and wherever he goes, I've seen schools transform in his leadership, and I have seen how honest and committed he is to his job, and that is, I think, something that really gives me a lot of passion,
Yes,
and like something to aspire to be. So like always wanted them. Like, I was always wanted to do something that makes them proud of me. That I have done something to make them feel proud. But apart from that, I would say there are a lot of people that have inspired me, like through the way. Um, my school principal from St. Michael's, Salome ma'am, she has been an amazing principal. I would say I haven't seen a person like her. She still today remembers each and every student that passes from her school by face, by name, sometimes very occasionally mixing it up, but knowing what mischief they did in school, what was their strong points and everything. She gives this confidence in students. She makes you feel important, and that is very important for a child.
yes, yes, definitely.
And I think she does that in such a lovingly way, and she's very strict as well. So not that she spoils you, she's right there behind you, looking at you when you're doing a mischief, but she gives this energy, and she's always full of energy. I don't know where she gets this energy from, but like from the day she like maybe hits the bed, she's like up and going around in school, taking lectures, looking around the management. She's just that woman that when you look at her, you're like, wow, there's something about her, and you want to be an active and admirable person like her. And I think there are many people throughout the way, but I would say that and I think my teachers, both K.K. Jain sir and Koteshwar Rao sir, they have been a very big inspiration in that sense. My college was, it's a humble college. It's not something like an big infrastructure and everything, but the kind of values they instilled in students and the kind of fire they brought within us to aspire to be something that you want to be. I think that was a great influence on me. They left a mark on me that would be there forever. And then I would say also, like, a lot of people, I've learned a lot of things from you, Auntie, and I would say many people around the way. It's everyone has something that you can learn from, I think. But some people, of course, leave a bigger mark on you than others.
Very good. So you're in a very good journey. You're growing day by day, year by year. So where do you see yourself in next 10 years? Or haven't you thought about?
I would say, not that I have not thought about it, but I also know that it's not predictable. To know where you are going to be, I love my field, and I would like to continue doing something. And I think one of my skill set is to like lead people and lead projects to get things done. So one of the things I would like to be doing is have some good responsibilities in a company where I could bring change, where I could bring development, I could use my skills.
Very good.
At the same time, I would, and I've been wanting to do this from some time, but I also want to do something to contribute back to the society where I come from. It's a small city I come from, and I know that I am one of the lucky few who had the parents and the school to give the support that I am who I am today. A lot of people don't have that, and it doesn't always matter of the how rich or how poor you are. It's also the psychology of people around you who let you grow, or there's the dimension of success is different for different people.
Yes.
So I would like to do something about that. I started with like a scholarship for some like students in Satna, but I would like to do something more to grow that initiative and do something bigger for students, and I would say more also towards girls, to give them the opportunity to come on the equal playing ground with boys. I don't know. Let's see where it gets. It's 10 years is a long time.
Yes. Any plan to come back to India?
I don't know. It's difficult to say. As I said, I've always been on this 2-year plans, and I'm going to stay in Sweden for 2 years, and then those 2 years have become like 9 years.
Yeah.
Now, since my husband has moved here, we have said, and it's now 2 people, so we have said we're going to stay here for at least 5 more years, and then take the decision of whether we want to move back to India, and then we will move for good. Otherwise, maybe stay here or see where life takes us.
Yes.
I will be open also to explore new places, to try out living in a different country, and kind of that experience is also something. So I don't know. I don't plan. I plan a lot, but there are those things that I don't plan so much. I think I go with the flow and see what fits. As long as something that makes me feel passionate about it, I will just do it.
Sandhya, who you would like to mentor? Because as I mentioned, there are so many unemployed scenarios. So how an ideal mentee for you look like?
I think for me, someone who has this passion for, first of all, someone who is humble and knows that they don't know everything. I think that is a very important thing to be a mentee. That has been important for me, to realize that I don't know everything. Plus, someone who has the who wants to put the effort and is open to learn new things, to be explored, or to be exploring new dimensions, or to be opened up to new arenas where they can try out things. I think that someone with an open mind and the willingness to put that effort that is needed. I think that would be the ideal person. But as always said, the biggest challenge, it's maybe asking for something too easy. I think the real mentorship is mentoring someone who is not that, and still being able to show them what they can do. So I don't know. Not asking for trouble, but but yes, there would be an ideal mentee. But I think anyone who wants to, I'm always open to share what I have with people that I can like give any advice to.
You mentioned that you want to start a scholarship with Satnam, I mean, especially for girls or something. So any criteria do you think you have thought of, or just on
Yeah,
financial basis?
it was not only on financial basis, but also on, I mean, a little bit of your background. So like to kind of find that people are not just handing out. I mean, because I mean, there is a scholarship that I already have actually, and it is not basically just handing out to anyone, but someone who actually wants to do that effort. So it's based on um, like merit as well. So for example, it's not anything big, it's very small, but that small can make a big difference for
Yes,
someone, I
yes,
feel.
yes.
So I think it's primarily girls that I had thought of, and it's underprivileged area in like in the outskirts of Satna. It's called Pahari, and there it's a lot of Adivasi people who are living there, tribals. And there I have seen. I've been with my dad sometimes, and I've seen that area, and I felt like I can probably do something here. And when I shared with my dad that I want to do this, he took me to a couple of places with him to show me, okay, before you do something, you should maybe look at these things.
Yes,
And that
yes.
was the place that we thought that I'm gonna go for. So it's girls and 10th standard. So basically, in 9th and 10th, I see like who are the top three people. And actually, my intention was to start with only girls, but then I realized that maybe it was a bias in
Yes.
my on my side. So I, for now, have changed that. So top three, whoever they are, they would get some scholarship from me, and that was basically it. But in the future, I want to make it bigger in the sense trying to do something more about it. I don't know exactly what. I have some ideas,
Yes.
but I have to also figure out how to get the funding for it, because right now I'm funding myself. But maybe later on I can probably find other ways to do it.
Very
So
good.
fingers crossed.
Any particular book you are, I mean, a favorite book, or some book you, I mean, go to whenever you feel uh, maybe not comfortable or something like this, like Gita, Bhagavad Gita. We used to go to Bhagavad Gita whenever we feel depressed or something like that. So, any particular book you referred?
Actually, there are different books, I would say. One of the books that actually helped me, because everyone I used to think that I have a lot of skill sets, and but then you realize at a nice moment that you have. I mean, there is so much you need to improve as well, and you always know that. But there is this moment, and I was feeling like that at a particular point of time when I was struggling a little bit with how I handle some things. And then I came across this book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. It's an amazing book, I think, and it helped me understand, um, like how can I be a better person? How can I be more effective? And not just effective, but actually also be a better person, because it focuses on what can you improve. It starts with you yourself, like being proactive yourself. Every situation will offer you choices. It's up to you what choices you make there. And that was a big, I would say, changer for me in the terms of how I think. I have started to think, because I used to be very uh, what, how do I put it in a good way? But I used to be I'm an aggressive person in that sense, and it was very easy to kind of turn me on, like to get the reaction. After I read that, I realized that it's really up to me to get the reaction. No one is forcing me. And then I learned to tame that down, and I've become more calm ever since. And it's a practice. And that book, I think, is something I would recommend everyone to read. Another book that I actually love very much is Rashmi Rathi. It's uh, it's about Karn. It's the Mahabharata from Karn's point of view, and I just like the beauty of the book, the way it's depicts the whole story from one person's point of view, but there is a good message of it. I've always loved Kern and had sympathized with him, but by reading that book, or it's a poetry, I understood that no matter how right you are, if you are standing on the wrong side, you have made that decision. And it's I love it for many reasons, for the good message that it brings, but also the beautiful language that it's written in. It's just amazing. Just reading that sometimes just gives me a very good positive feeling.
Yes, 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 yes. I think that book of Seven Habits of Highly Effective by Stephen Covey is an amazing book, no doubt. I've read that. And another book, also a very good book. Right? Very good. So I think you must have read Bhagavad Gita, because
I have read Bhagavad Gita, yes.
I think that's an amazing book, and I personally use it a lot. Right? Because
Absolutely.
because I think whenever I feel something like that, I go to Bhagavad Gita, and even I think I must have read it maybe 100 times, but still I find something new in that book.
Yes, absolutely. I have to tell you, when you say that I mean, there is always one principle that everyone kind of always follows, and not by choice in that sense, but it just because it connects with me so well. The principle I follow is karm karo, phal ki chinta mat karo,
Yes, yes, yes.
and that basically comes from Gita,
Bhagavad Gita, yes.
and it's always been my guiding light. That I mean, it's kind of there is not. I mean, focus on what you can do. Basically, in the end,
Yes, yes,
the
yes.
results will come because there is someone watching you, and uh,
Yes.
but the effort that you put in, they will come back in some form or the other. It never goes to waste.
Thank you so much, Sandhya. And so, as you mentioned, RJTI, I think that was a very good college. Have you visited your college after coming home?
RGIT, yes. I have visited that like college twice after that. Now, since it's in a different city and I come to India, like it's not that often in that sense. And when I come, then I want to spend most of the time with my family. But I've been there twice after, uh, and it feels it. Yeah, it's nostalgia when you go there. But at the same time, I mean, it's a different kind of beauty because when you college for you is not just the college. Of course, there is the buildings and the courtyards and everything around. But I think college is your friends and your teachers and your colleagues. And when you go after many years and everything has changed, you feel this is the same place, but it's not the same place anymore because the place itself has changed. With every passing moment, it's a new place, the same
Yes,
place, because
yes,
it's a new generation, it's a new batch, and it's also a beauty to see that the same kind of things are going around there. Like you see friendships, you see classes being run, you see students going from one classroom to another or to the labs, and this whole thing. But you look at it an observer now. You're not a participant in that anymore. So it's a different kind of feeling. But it's nostalgia anyway. Like when you pass there, you look at all the places that where you have spent really good time with your friends. It's an amazing feeling.
now that you have so long exposure, so good exposure of different kind, what change would you like to see in your college?
In my college, I would say now I have not been there for a long time, so I would say I'm not really up to speed. In that sense, one thing that I would like to see is a bit better focus on the campus placements in my college. There is, I mean, there is some improvements that could be done there. When we used to study, the infrastructure needed quite some. It was a semi-government college, so it was not like this great infrastructure in that sense. We had like a kind of spread over college with classrooms were like in that sense quite some basic level. But now I know that there have been quite many improvements done. There is a nice building and everything. Infrastructure wise, it has grown. I think campus placement would be one thing I would say. And also, I don't know. I'm not super updated now. I'm not really that connected to the alumni association, but I would say the teachers that we had at that time, they were amazing. So I don't know if how it looks like now, but I think that is a foundation of a good college as well. You need to have
Yes,
really good
yes.
teachers. They are the ones that kind of bring life to the college.
And what outdoor labs?
Labs, definitely. I think they still have access to the CSMT labs, which are really great, and they can always take it to the next level from there. So, I mean, I think that would be a great thing to see that improvement, to see kind of labs that I would say that I've seen here in my college. That would be amazing.
Because as you mentioned, I have also almost all the engineering colleges here, and I think we need to work a lot on laboratories. Of course, the teachers are very important, but I
Yes.
think we need to modernize all the labs. We need to think, I think, in a new way. What is required now?
Yes, exactly. And also making those labs accessible also. I think one of the challenges that I've seen is that sometimes there are really good labs, but they're locked down. They're not open for people to go and try it out. But I think it's a mutual thing. Also, students need to respect that this is a college facility and they shouldn't destroy things, because I don't know why that kind of behavior is so common in India, that you like to destroy things. But having them open to people. No, a lab is where if you have a question, you can go there and check, and you can test it out. So I think it's a mutual responsibility, having those facilities plus having that responsibility on the students, that it is your property. You need to respect this. You need to take care of this. That would be something nice, or maybe a must-have if we really want to succeed.
Yes, one more thing that I would like you to focus on. If someone want to make career in, foreign countries like US, UK, Sweden, Canada, etc. So what he or she should do differently, you can say.
I think it depends very much on what is the field that you are looking for. Because I would say the place is secondary. At least in my, even though I live abroad, it might sound super like that I'm kind of superficially saying it, but it's not so. I think it is most important that what is it actually you want to do. That's the first question. And once you know that, then you also know which are the good places to do that. So, for example, if let's say you are interested in a particular field which is good in US, if you are good in that field, I think the opportunities to go to that field will open on its own, and vice versa. They might even seek for you. I mean, I was not really very voluntary coming to Sweden. I got an offer and I just, okay, let's move them.
Yes.
So it just happens. But if you want to actually put this extra effort, I think one very important thing is what you can work on yourself, irrespective of the field, is your communication skills. That's something that I think is really important, no matter which field you go into. I think that would kind of help you express yourself better, and also portray the strengths that you have in a positive way, in a more emphasizing way that you would do otherwise. I think that is something that you should definitely work on. And I mean, there are always opportunities. You just need to keep an eye on it and be on a hunt for it. So I think that would be something to look for. I would say, but for me, the most important thing is find out what you want to do, and all the paths will actually open. You just need to find that passion.
Very good. So thank you so much, Sandhya. So I think you have explained so many good points for the newcomers, for the just fresh out, for the students. Thank you so much for being here. I would like to see you here when you come back in India, maybe after a few months or when this Corona things goes on. Thank you so much. All the best for everything.
Thank you so much, Uncle. And so nice to talk to you and see you finally after a long, long time. So we should definitely meet when I'm back in India.
Okay. Thank you. Take care of yourself and be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle. Take care. Bye.
Bye.